Alright, so good afternoon everyone. So my name is Aldrin and I've got Korean Pinoy and Nabil Boda joining on soon. So the three of us, we spent the last couple of months building this tool called Indic Subtitler. It's a powerful but very simple to use subtitling application specifically for Indic languages. So when we started building it, our vision was very simple. We wanted to break down the language barriers and make audio and video content be accessible to everyone, irrespective of the language they know or speak. So the main problems we identified, right? So if you think about it, in India we got 22 official languages. And how many languages do each one of us know? Maybe three, maybe four, maybe even rarely five. But just think about it. If you know three or four languages out of 22, you're missing out on a lot of good content in a wide variety of languages. So there are a great many good poems in Bengali. But if I want to know what they mean, I'll have to wait for someone to either transcribe them for me or so that's one major problem we faced. Another problem that we found was for those having some issue with hearing issues, they found it very difficult to see even understand things like news channels or some important announcements that was made. They'll have to wait for someone to make sign language demos for them, or they'll have to wait till someone actually makes subtitles for them. So another example is recently a very famous movie called Aadujeevitham was released in Kerala, and they faced issue with launching subtitles. When they first launched the movie, subtitles were not there. And then a lot of people were commenting on Twitter like, can you please have subtitles for, can you please add English subtitles, or they wanted to have it in Bangalore in a different language sort of. So usually this whole process of generating subtitles is very hard. We talked to a lot of people working in this field, and they'll have to manually transcribe each line. They'll have to manually find the timestamps and then match them accordingly. So that was a big pain that we found. And so our idea was very simple. Whisper model was launched like 2-3 years ago, and even then there are like really good state-of-the-art speech transcription models. But mostly it's been used by AI engineers or scientists in their local machines. So we thought, can't we just use these powerful models and bring them to be used by the common person to solve the other problems that we mentioned? And that's how we built Indic Subtitler. So currently the features that we have is that we support four like state-of-the-art models for speech transcription. Based on our architecture, it's very easy to add even more fine-tuned models for specific languages if necessary. And once subtitles are generated, we can download them in SRT, JSON, TXT, or even VTT formats. We also have a built-in editor so that if the accuracy is not good enough for certain languages, if you are someone expert in that language for that matter, you have the freedom to make edits directly in our platform itself. We also support streaming response generation. So just like how in ChatGPT, you have got each tokens coming right up one after the other without waiting for the whole text to be generated. In our editor also, once you start hitting the subtitle, you don't need to wait for the entire audio or video file to be transcribed. You can immediately see as each chunk is being transcribed. We also do have a built-in library of sorts where your past transcriptions are stored and you can access them again. And right now it's made such that you can add even more models easily. You can self-host it on once you have a good enough GPU that works. We also do support transcription and translation. Some tools available right now, what they do is they first transcribe and then do a translation as a separate step. But in the way that we've written right now, you can do translation of the audio assets. So that way the accuracy is not like decreased any further. And we have taken even more care to ensure that we have a very simple, extremely easy to use UI UX for everyone. We also do have like a live transcribe cool feature. So the idea is, let's say we are listening to a speech as such, you can just open our site in our phone, just keep it in there. It'll just transcribe automatically based on like certain time frame. So then you'll be able to immediately see what this person is speaking, even if you have some hearing issues. So this is a very simple user flow. You can upload an audio or a video file. We support all popular formats like MP4, MKV, MPG, or even like for audio, MP3, WAV file, etc. You can also upload any YouTube links, for example, and we'll translate that also. Then once the subtitles are generated, you can make optional edits if necessary. And finally, you can generate a subtitle file. The text that we used, currently we have these four main models. So the Seamless M40 is one made by Meta. It's a very, very powerful model. Then WhisperX and Faster Whisper are instances of the variations of the traditional Whisper model. Vegam Whisper is a separate one specifically made for Malayalam. It was built by Korean, like one of our team members. For text type we use Nextbase. For styling we use Tailwind and DCUI. Backend is written in a fast API sort of architecture, but we're hosting it on a platform called modal.com. It's a way to infer with models using a serverless architecture. The reason why we chose this is that now if anyone else want to contribute to the code base, they don't really need to have a powerful GPU. They can just use this current code right now, just create one free like account as such, and then they'll be able to immediately start contributing to it. Like they'll be able to infer with the models locally without having to need a powerful GPU. Should load right now. For some. Maybe I don't want to reload. I'll come back to it towards the end. But but the very maybe I'll just it's in the data. I'll just show it and show it. So this is a very simple architecture as is. You infer with the front end. The back end is made in FastAPI of sorts. We infer serverlessly with all these models. And we did our own sort of novel contribution on this, which is, let me just press on which is based on the cut and merge architecture proposed by the WhisperX paper. So the one limitation with models like Seamless is that they have a limitation of something like context window as such. For example, Seamless M40 handles video less than 30 seconds. So we use this cut and merge architecture. The idea is that you take in a big audio file, then you use the Celero voice activated detection model to detect when the user has started and stopped speaking. So when there's a pause, then we break down the audio into those separate chunks, and then we group chunks such that the whole length of a certain group is lesser than the model context. So for example, Seamless has 30 seconds. So we group certain audio chunks such that the length comes lesser than 30 seconds, and then we pass those sequentially into the model. And then as soon as one particular chunk is transcribed, we immediately send it to the user in a streaming fashion. The advantage of this architecture is that this same flow can be generalized for any kind of model, irrespective of any context length that they have. And yeah, so that way, the model will be able to transcribe audio of any length. And we actually talked about this architecture again in a paper, and we submitted it for the NLTB conference, which happened in July. I'm not sure why it's not loading, but yeah. And so with our platform, we are having to have an impact on people who want to access content in a different language that they do not already know, and also for people who have some issues with their hearing. We are hoping that our platform will be used by YouTubers or professionals in the media industry, or even by video conferencing platforms to generate subtitles and very easily add them to the video file that they already have. This is our team. We got three of some issue with the image. Yeah. So now we'll see a brief demo of how it works.
So this is a YouTube video, a Malayalam YouTube video of a police IPS officer speaking in Madhubhumi International Festival of Letters. And if you look at this YouTube video, you can see that this video doesn't have subtitles. So someone who is in a non-Malayalam speaker won't be able to understand what he is speaking. So ideally, we would have for that Malayalam content to have at least subtitles in English. So our demo goes. Sure. So sorry. So yeah, if you can see that, okay, we are just going through it. We have this in this Indic Subtitler website. You can see that, okay, for this Malayalam video itself, we are like, okay, passing that YouTube video link and then choosing our model. So we have 4 models. Out of that 4 models, we are choosing Seamless M40, selected Malayalam as the subtitles. Actually, we can do it in any languages. All 12 Indian languages we can do, generate subtitles like that way. So if you look at the top bot right down, like you can see that, okay, earlier language is being identified as, okay, let me see if it is being playing again. So the whole thing I want to say is like, maybe we showed you, okay, our architecture is like a streaming UI kind of setup, right? But one whole concept which inspired us is like something called as generative UI. So just like generative AI, we have a generative UI also. So rather than the user waiting for everything, okay, we will show some actions like, okay, model is being loaded, okay, the language is being identified as Malayalam, subtitle starts coming from 30 seconds and all. If you look at any architecture for a 1 hour video, it takes about 55 minutes or something. If you look at any architecture, with our novel architecture, you get the user response in close to 30 seconds or something like that, you will see it. So you can try it out in indicsubtitler.in website. And as you see, like this is, there are good options to see, okay, what are the kinds of it's not just for one audio. So go to Indic Subtitler, go to the generate new generate new subtitles, and then you can see what is the subtitles. I will say just go and play in the website itself. We can't definitely show you everything in our demo, but just basically speaking, this is our demo page. And since time is up, I'm not going to explain all those things, but as my last slide, I'm going to show some cool statistics which we have when we were building over the past 2-3 months, right? It's been 2-3 months. So one cool thing we had is we have 100% accessibility score as per Google Lighthouse thing, and we have some testimonials from people who use screen readers, and they found our tool very useful. They said they don't want just this only, but they want some TTS also. We are going to work on that in Malayalam as well soon. But this is something we talk to some people who has real challenges. Two of our testimonials, Abjit Neil Abraham as well as Regin Jose, are people who has challenges there. They are highly successful people still, but they really benefit from our tool. And till now we have reached almost in 1 month. This is last updated in 1 week or something like that. We have 750 plus unique visitors, almost 2000 plus page views in our website. We have got 50 plus GitHub stars. We have 2 organic pull requests. And finally, one of the cool thing is we had some awesome testimonials, and some of these testimonials, we asked some of us, our friends, but some of the thing this Omni Prakash, once he saw our tool, he tweeted it out. We didn't ask him or ask him to give it feedback or something like that. So it has been cool building this particular tool, and I'm really excited. We already presented this as a scientific paper for a conference in Italy, which will be happening in June or something like that. That is our basic idea, and hopefully we can continue contributing and make building this project even better. And as I said, there are some organic contributors as well. So if you look at our pull requests, 2 pull requests are there at the moment. One is being accepted, and we have a recommendation section as well. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Questions?
So in your demo, right, when you have the Malayalam video playing, you will have the English subtitles. So are they getting laid over the video? Because I didn't see that in the demo.
So this thing, right, that is in order for someone in media industry, people will really understand that in order to generate a subtitles, they will need SRT files. I'm not even going to show it in my you download the upload in YouTube, and if you check a YouTube video, I have right now uploaded in YouTube. Kurian Binoy, check it. I have shown you how I have done it in a YouTube video.
So how does it matter whether you start rendering it in the first 30 seconds or you take a minute? Because finally you need the whole SRT file, right?
So we don't have to wait till the end, I think, right? So we can start viewing the subtitles and see hey, the subtitles are starting generating, so we can see this particular places there are errors, so we can notice it. And if the error is too much, sometimes the demo is the best case, but there are in certain languages, I will very honestly tell you, in Seamless M40, it supports 400 language combination. We support 12 Indian languages and 8 European languages. Certain language combinations, it's terrible from the start. So we can stop it directly, right? Just like ChatGPT, we have that stop generating option. We can
Understood.
with this,
okay.
we have that.
So what are your specific contributions in terms of innovation? One is I think what you're saying, that breaking it into 30 seconds. So you use some, ways of figuring out where the pause is and how to break it. Apart from that, what are the specific contributions?
I think the main part for which we are all proud of is that we feel like we are actually solving a real life problem of the common person as such. Because something like this does not exist as far as we can. That is the one which we are most proud of. Technical aspect as such, just like Kurun mentioned earlier, the curtain merge algorithm inspired by Whisper, we generalized it so that it's working for any model that you want to use. We also solved problems with something for example, if someone was to develop something like this and expect contributors, they would be limited by the fact that they need a good enough GPU to run. based on the way we run it, anyone without even GPU can just use modal and then directly start contributing. That could be one. And then there are other factors as such. This live transcribe feature of breaking into chunks, and also the fact that we took care of the accessibility as such.
And one thing maybe we can just say
I
is
mean,
that,
sorry, who pays for that?
so right now it runs in $0. That is the reality, right? So we are hosting this website in versal.com. Modal.com gives us $30 free credits every day, every month. So that $30 credits so far with 750 users or 1000 users, we have been able to
So
sustain
if it starts exhausting,
Yes, if
then
it starts
it will,
exhausting, we have
then
to,
it has to be paid. Okay.
And we have some credits from modal.com also. But like, this is like, okay, something to show that, okay, no big companies have done it, so we have done it. Maybe like that way.
I think it is kind of a common theme now. Like how do we evaluate the quality? Like, what is the metric that you used, and what is your test data?
Can you take that again? So, evaluating is a very, very hard problem. Why is it a hard problem? Just because ground truth. We don't have ground truth. If someone is able to give us ground truth, okay, for me, like I don't want to use some academic data sets like Common Voice or something to evaluate because this is like long form transcription and there is not enough long form transcription, is my opinion. That real ground truth is not being present at the moment in Indian languages, and evaluation also is a lot of effort. So we had created something called Indic audio evals, something like a data set we thought of creating in like 6 languages. We started initially, we collected the data set, we could have evaluated also, but the problem was like we don't have the ground truth. We want to manually go in and check it, okay, whether it's correct or not. So that is the problem. But for this evaluation thing itself, maybe as kind of a shortcut for now, we have something called as model recommendation. So this is like people who are actually using in our own languages, and we can understand, okay, which model is performing better. They will test it on their own. This is kind of like byte-based testing in maybe LLMs or something like that. It is not quantitative testing or any metric driven or something like that. This is kind of byte-based testing. And for 4 languages right now, we have done it. We have an issue in our GitHub repositories to test it for all the Indian languages as well. So that is kind of our plan right now. But yeah, like further, if we get more funding.
Yeah, but I think I mean, like the project is very good, but you should definitely like invest in maybe getting some annotation done, because otherwise maybe initially it will work, but later users will not have confidence. I think that become a very important point.
Actually, if we have some plans, okay, if we win the hackathon or something like that, we might bring some school students, give them some money, what Karya pays. So our evaluation data set is about like 6 languages, 1 hour of data. And Karya pays for $5 or something like that. We can pay 500 rupees, and then, okay, that will give us evaluation data set, then we can contribute it further.
Sure, yeah, thanks.
Could you explain the timestamp issue and how you solved it, and whether it can go upstream at all?
Right, so that's a valid question. And the way we designed that algorithm, cut and merge algorithm, with that the issue should not be happening as such. But currently in the code base, the one which live on production, there is a timestamp issue that happens with the chunk size going above 30, as well as I can understand. Yeah. There is a timestamp issue right now in the live site as such, but with the algorithm that we are proposing, that issue should be solved as well. So then right now I think what happens is you get the same timestamp duplicating, sort of with the chunks overflowing as such, but with the algorithm that should be fixed right now. We are confident that we can do it.
Okay, so just a couple of rapid fire questions. There are a bunch of questions from
other online queries also. First question: how can this be extended for accessibility need for visually impaired users? Quick answers.
So it is already TTS is something, yeah,
okay,
users
TTS
would need it.
Okay.
And another thing might be, okay, our score is already good, so.
Got it. Okay. Next one: what are main challenges that the ASR models used here? What are the common problems that you all see?
Doesn't work very well in Indian languages.
Okay, and
but
maybe
fine tuning will definitely help. It's
okay, so one
data set.
quick follow up to that question, which is you guys said you trained the local model, right?
Yep.
How much data did you use? What is the data? Why didn't you talk about the numbers?
So the local model, we use 50 hours of training data by an IC Force collected data set, and we trained, in about 16 hours or something like that. What was your question?
What model is this? And
so Whisper, we just fine-tuned on top of it. But
Got it.
actually, one good opportunity for us to even try out is like Seamless M40 has open source this W2VQ VEC architecture or something like that. So we can try out that also. And
got it. But why didn't you use your model? Was it not better than Whisper?
Yeah. Whisper in Malayalam is terrible. So that is why like Vegam Whisper is like giving better performance.
So why didn't you talk about that?
It's done by some other team. It's not this project.
It is our project actually. So
They did the, yeah, they did.
yeah, Vegam Whisper is like
audio.
it is like a project which I built for my MTech project. Yeah.
Yeah, you should have spoken more about that. That's exactly what the juries are saying.
So the point was that we can add any more custom models as you want. That was the main point.
That's great, but see, it's nice to say this aeroplane can fly, okay? Only if you can prove the aerofoil, right? But prove something, right? So you have to say that, okay, we can do for one Malayalam movie, we can do really well. That's enough. Then other people will say, oh, I'll add it for Telugu, I'll add it for Kannada or whatever, right? But prove it for one small unit test case, okay? All right. Last question. In the interest of time, sorry, Ashok, I cannot ask all your questions. Okay, could this be expanded to express emotion or ambience in text? For example, human-created subtitles, there is a mention of ambience or mood. Yeah. Any thoughts on that? So they are saying more than just purely text now, because earlier humans could do it. I mean, couldn't do it easily, but now you can do a lot more, right? Is there a way to convey more?
In English, it is possible with Seamless M40. That seamless expressive demo is super. Like that 30 seconds, okay, how it shows it is very good.
Okay.
So will it work for Indian languages? I don't know, but yeah, we can try it
Okay,
out.
so I think the answer is check out Seamless 40. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.